Hello, everybody. Welcome to Free Talks. My name is Carlos. I'm your host from Maputo, Mozambique. We are here. It's Friday, September 3rd, 7 p.m. in Mozambique, 5 p.m. in Ghana, where my guest of this evening uh, comes from. Evening in Mozambique, still afternoon in Ghana. But we are very excited to be here. My guest of this session is a very special friend of mine. We've met each other long years ago. Uh, and for this session, I really wanted to talk about creativity and how to spark your creativity. I think in this COVID time, since at the beginning of the pandemic, we've seen and we have to take a lesson and learn something out of this. Is that the companies who strive and the people who do well are those who have a capacity to be creatives and to innovate and reinvent themselves. So creativity is more important now than maybe ever before. And we have so many tools, we have so many gadgets, so many free apps, so many fancy cameras we can use. And but the most important tool is here, is our minds and our brains and creativity and our ability to imagine something that exists. So when I was thinking about this topic, my guest of this session is the first name who popped into my mind because I've met him at a creative experience uh, while working in South Africa, and it was an amazing week and a week that really changed my approach as a creative. Um, and I was honored to be sharing that stage, that moment with him. So I really wanted to invite him to join me for this conversation. His name is Michael Duodu-Opare, and for me, it's just Michael. And I will call him now to join me on the screen. Welcome, my friends. Welcome to Freestyle
Yo, yo,
Talks.
yo, yo, what's good? What's good, Carlos? It's been a while. It's nice to be here. Thanks a lot.
Man, it's an honor, huh? And I really miss you, huh? Long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. I should have kept in contact. I think I'm bad for this, so I owe you a glass of wine or whatever you drink when I come over.
Not a and not a glass. I want a bottle, please. Don't be
No, no,
cheap.
no, no. It's COVID. It's COVID. It's COVID. You have to be a little stingy sometimes.
Stop being
But no,
cheap,
I get
Michael.
your
Stop
bottle.
being
I get
cheap.
your bottle. I
Thank
get your
you.
bottle, bro.
Look, thank you, man. Look, Ghana and Mozambique are connected together here. So, I'm really inspired and really excited for this moment and conversation. Not just about the inspiration bridge connecting our countries and our cultures and our minds, but also because I really admire you as a person and I admire your work
Thanks,
as
thanks,
well.
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and for people, Michael, who don't know you that well, who don't know who Michael is, and can
Yeah.
you give them a short, brief introduction about who is Michael as a person, who is Vipa, Mr. Vipa, and tell us
Yeah.
a little bit more about you, please.
Almost definitely. So Michael is a creative person. I think I've been put in that ecosystem of being a creative since I was young because my uncle was an illustrator, so it made it easier for me to gravitate towards that space. And so I'm a creative. I'm very much into everything creative. So I watch animes. I listen to music, especially rap music, and uh I'm I'll just say I'm a free bird. I'm someone that moves to things that excite me. So basically that's the kind of person I am. And the Viper is a nickname that I got in school. So it's spelled differently, but it's actually viper like a snake. Yeah, I like doing weird stuff. I know you know.
Yes, I do. I do that. And look, it's also to invite people who are watching. If you want to interact with us, send us a text
Yeah,
message on
yeah.
YouTube, and we'll
Okay.
be happy to interact with you and reply to any questions you might have. So feel free to be a part of the conversation and subscribe to the channel, please.
Yeah. Subscribe
So
to the channel.
please do. But also, something I'm always curious, and you told me that the family influence has been a part of you as a creative.
My yeah, my
Uh,
creative walk.
we've met. I think it was 2011
Uh,
or 2012. I think it was
yeah,
like
I
10 years
think
ago.
yeah, it's been quite a while. Yeah, it
Nine,
should be.
10 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah, it should be 9, 10 years
we
ago.
were in Johannesburg in South Africa. Uh,
Yeah,
each one sent by his
by
agency. So
agency to
I
the
was working. Yes, I was working at my agencies. So tell people a little bit more about what you recall from that interaction, that trip, that moment, and then I'll share my my
your
memory and see
experience. Sure,
who's
sure, sure.
fresher.
So, let me see. So this happened, and as you already tried predicting, and I got it wrong. This happened probably 9 years ago. I don't remember the exact date, but that was actually my first trip to South Africa. So my company, whose mother company was in South Africa, had us come over because we had a creative session. So um, I I don't even remember the whole trip. So I was so scared on the plane. I don't remember what even happened. All I remember was I landed in Johannesburg. Was it Johannesburg? Yeah, I did. I landed in Johannesburg and took a car to the hotel. Then from the hotel, I think the next day we started our sessions. So I think you are one of the first people I met when we got in there, because it looks like you are always a punctual person. So you were quite early. So you're one of the first people I met. Then I think I met Paul and the two Nigerians. Their names have escaped me right now, but I remember them quite well. The two Nigerians were exceptional copywriters. So my first impression was you. I think we had to do copy for, was it Standard Bank South Africa. So we had to write, we had to do mindscapes and write certain stuff on the wall. And you people were so busy into it. And I had to sit back because I was little more of like not a creative writer like you people. I was like a creative as in I do design. So it was quite fascinating to be there and watch how people that play with words kind of like progress their ideas into the finished product. So I was really, it was really an exciting trip because I got to meet new people. Yeah, and we used to run out doing sessions to the mall. You also did that, so it wasn't me alone. You also did that. So we used to. It was an exciting trip, and it was good to learn. And yeah, we were worked. We were worked. It was like from 8 o'clock to midnight. So it was 8 o'clock to like, it was like 8 or 9 p.m. That's when we were let off. So it was kind of like a new learning experience to be there with new people and having all this excitement of leaving your country and traveling out and meeting people who are like on an intellectual height that you always want to get to. So it was really a great trip. I don't know what you remember about that trip, but there's let me see. Okay, I can't tell you those things. It won't be nice. I'll be arrested for
No,
those. So
please don't.
you say
Please
you
don't.
you remember. So I'm
Okay,
I'm waiting.
so
I want you to refresh my memory about what you also remember from then.
okay, I just remember about
Yeah, we
working. No
did we did
malls,
work.
nothing extra.
We
No
did work.
malls. I don't recall going to the
Yeah.
mall, anything like that. I was just
Oh,
there working
oh no,
full
I
time.
think no, we ran away. We went to the mall. I remember we went with you.
Ah, okay. Uh, Maybe I was dragged by you, but
Yeah,
no, but
probably.
no, but really, my my experience was very similar. I think it was an amazing opportunity to be around an all-star team in a way.
Yeah.
So some of the best creatives from different African countries.
Countries.
We
Yeah.
had Ghana, Nigeria, Mozambique,
Mm-hmm.
South Africa. So and other countries.
Yeah. I
So
think we
that
had.
was, I think, just the exposure to different minds and the level of those teams. And coming from Maputo,
Yeah.
our agency is was very different than the
Okay.
one at
In South of.
At
Yeah.
TBWA, where we were working that week. And their level of quality of intellect of being
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
professionals
Yeah.
is something I really also kept, and I was very inspired. I was also inspired by the way, I don't know if you remember him, Prin Evan.
I remember Prin. I remember
So
Prin.
yeah, so Prin,
Prin is one
man,
smart
I was
guy.
really impressed by him. Yeah,
Prin. Yeah. Prin
he's a
is one
great,
smart guy.
he has a great mind. He has a
Yeah.
great
That's very
mind.
true.
He's smart, and the way he was able to inspire us and to present us to new
Drivers. Yeah.
concepts, new ideas, and open our minds,
Yeah.
it was fascinating. And
It
so
really was.
I think it was a work ethic and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
a different approach on how to do my job as a creative when I got back to Mozambique.
Yeah.
And even after me leaving agencies, that way of working and that way of trying to level up, and strive for more and
For
trying
more.
to push
Yeah.
myself is something I
It's still.
definitely took from that
It
trip.
stuck with you. Yeah. It stuck with you from wherever you moved from. So it became
And also,
engraved
I've
in your
met,
DNA.
yeah, it did. And also, I've met great people like you,
Yeah.
like Prin. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really also blessed because Prin was a guest here. You are now joining us. So it's very
Yeah.
nice also to see that almost 10 years later,
We're
we are
still.
still
We're still.
connected
Yeah.
and
We're
we are
still
still
connected.
learning and
Exactly.
sharing. And this is very
That's.
beautiful, to be building this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It's always great. It's always great to have that kind of union, like as creatives, to have a collective where you can still tap in, you can tap into each other, and whether you get some synergy to continue on your
for
path,
sure.
because it's really tough being a creative.
For sure, man. Tell me something about Ghana and the industry in Ghana. Is the creative industry big in your country? Is it as still an emerging industry? And also, as a young aspiring creative, still at school, at or high school, uh, do you guys have schools for designers, for copywriters? Is there a proper training, or like in Mozambique, not that good? So tell me more about the formation and training years, and how is the industry today?
Oh, okay. So I would say the industry is growing. It's still moving. It's not as good, or as, how should I say, as great as other industries in other countries, but it's a growing path that is taken. And with the advent of what's it called, like with tools online and learning forums online, I think creatives are getting much better than when I started. So probably you would say the work ethic is not improving as much, because sometimes you really need to be in the industry to understand some of these things. So I think it's a growing market. It's a growing space, as in people are getting better in that space. It's not the best, but I don't think it's the worst either. Like we are still getting some of the greatest creatives we've ever seen in this period, and people are growing in knowledge and in worth. I also think another thing you asked was whether there's there's a school for training. Yeah, there are schools for training. There's KNUST. That's where I went. That's the university I went to. That's where I learned design. There are other little universities, like there are other private universities that also teach all aspects of the arts and creators. So it's something that's becoming better as we are moving forward as a country. And I think it's something that could expand. It's an ecosystem that could be expanded in a bit. Uh, that's about it. I don't know what specifically you'd want to know about. I mean, like how's your end like? I'd like to know how your end is. I mean, your industry. Do you think it's something that's growing? Do you think it's
Yeah, and one other question, just to follow up, and then I'll give you my
sure?
from our side in Mozambique.
Okay,
I also would like to ask you, are your clients investing a huge amount of money? So you guys as agencies work with big budgets or with tight?
it really depends on the client you're working with. Some of the clients that are probably international clients probably understand the need for advertising and work with big budgets. Most so there's a notion here that advertising is not really, it's not rocket science. So definitely people feel like they can do it in-house, or they can just get someone around the corner to sort it out. So he doesn't know why he should be paying an agency this much amount for his advertising stuff. So it's really it's a two-pronged thing. Sometimes you meet clients that understand it and they give you the big budgets to work with, and there are certain clients that will not really give you that much to work with. So it's, I mean, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, no, it's because some markets are have a fame of being Angola. In Angola and also in South Africa, I know the agencies have access to clients with big pockets,
Huge. Yeah.
big budgets, and that allows them to not have limitations on the creation. So they can dream big, being sure that they will have the budget to make those dreams a reality in turning into campaigns, in turning into ads, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Uh, in Mozambique, and I don't know if I've ever shared this with you before. So our training process is very much focused on the design side and art
Okay. Okay.
director side. So we have schools to prepare and train young men and women to be designers and art directors, illustrators as well. We don't have investment in copywriting in terms of training. So copywriters are people who either come from journalism,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
people
Yeah.
who are aspiring writers,
I
so
get I get your drift. I get your
you
drift. Yeah.
find, so it's not, no one almost is a copywriter from coming from school, and that makes us import a lot of copywriters. So we bring people from Portugal, Brazil also, because
Yeah.
there is a big need, a big gap in copywriting in Mozambique.
Yeah. That's
So in Ghana, is there a big the situation between the copyright side and the art director
outside.
side? Is it balanced in the
I think
agencies? Is it balanced?
I think it's just the same thing like your end. It's the same thing. I do not know how the schools are working it out in recent times, because I've been out of school for a while now, so I don't know what's changed. But like in the time that I was in school, it was heavily towards the art direction and design side of the creative industry. So copywriters, we didn't have many. I don't remember anyone that was there to learn copy or anything like that. And as you said, on our side of the market too, most copywriters are either people that learned English in school, or journalists, or, as you said, aspiring writers that probably feel like they want to venture into something else and come into creative writing for the advertising industry. So yeah, we do have a lack for copywriters too in our space. But I think the great thing about it is, once someone is conversant with writing and they get into the agency, because of probably the tools and the links and the resources that are available to them, they are able to pick up much quicker than probably other markets. Because for I wouldn't say the language itself, but for English, because it's more of like our first language here, because it's our first language here, and most people train in English. And if someone is conversant with English and they get into an advertising firm, it's easier to tweak them so they are able to write copy for advertising. So it's somewhat difficult to get the best copywriters, but like making them, it's a process that most agencies are going through. And I only hope it to get better when people get to understand that you need people to go to school to learn how to write copy for advertising.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And tell me something, is another point I'm curious about is the creative directors
Yeah.
in the agencies in Ghana are more from the art directing side or copywriting side?
They are more from the art directing side. There are only a few copywriters that are art directors, but they are mainly from the creative side. But yeah, there are a couple of, I know a couple of creative people, creative writers that are copy people that are art directors. And I think the best thing is to have copy people that are art directors, because I think one of the best art directors I worked with was a copy person. Because you people think in writing and pictures at the same time. So when you're writing something, you already have the image in your head. So it makes it easier for the creative person to bounce from there to the finished work. So in our space, it's somewhat, but if you look at it largely, it's creative. What's it called? It's creative. The creative directors are from the design side of things than the copy side of things.
Look, Emmanuel is sending us a message, and thank you, Emmanuel, for being with us. Make sure to subscribe. So he's saying that, and then we have those who have a flair for writing and learn on the job, starting as interns, as you were
Yeah,
saying. Yeah.
yeah.
And this was actually my experience as a copywriter was people called me to be a copywriter because I was a writer. So I had
Okay,
books
okay.
published, and this agency was looking to set up a new fresh team in the market, and they couldn't find copies
Okay.
of or interested or interesting copies, and they were looking for something new and some new fresh approach. So someone gave them an indication
Yeah.
about why not bring
You what
this guy.
you in
Is a young
okay.
Mozambican writer, and that's how I actually made the transition. But people automatically, it wasn't because I was a copywriter. I was not a copywriter. I was a writer. And then, as Emmanuel was saying, I've learned by
Yeah.
doing it. And when I got there, I didn't have anyone to teach me about my craft, any senior copywriter. I was the only
Okay.
copy in the
Yeah,
agency.
you're the only copy in the
Uh,
agency.
so it's really about learning on the job.
On the
So
job,
Emmanuel
yeah.
is very spot on that question.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
so I just noticed who Emmanuel was. Emmanuel was once my creative director. So I'm
ah,
just I'm just
amazing.
noticing. Yeah. So yeah.
So shout
That's
out to Emmanuel.
shout out to Emmanuel Blebu.
Thanks. Listen, how is what was the impact of COVID in the creative industry in Ghana?
It was really drastic. I mean, like it had a tough impact on most creatives in Ghana because I mean, like people hadn't had ways, like people didn't know how they were going to progress, was it their businesses or whatever they were selling, and COVID just hit, and it was out of the blue. So most people were stuck in. People were trying to adjust when it was very new, when COVID was novel and was very new, and people had a tough time. Like creatives in general had a tough time, especially those that were selling probably tangibles, like those that were doing painting and selling beads and the rest. It was really tough. So I mean, like most creatives had to find a way to adjust. It was a little tough for them to kind of like move out of the box that they were in into another space that was actually a confined space, because we're after a while we're all in for a bit. No one was making that much money. You had to find ways to sort these things out. So it had a major impact on all of the industry, if I should say.
No,
Yeah,
sorry, I
I
was
can
on
hear.
mute.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
Okay, I can hear you now.
yes, I'm back. Yes, I was asking you, were clients open to when COVID really began and it hit us all hard? It was a surprise and immediate panic initially, but after a while, did you felt clients closing and running away and tightening on their budgets, like it's not a good time, let's not do much? Or
Yeah,
were
yeah.
they open to innovate? What can we do? How can we keep putting new exciting advertisements outside?
Outside.
What was the approach?
Also, initially, when it started, I mean, like in the earlier parts of it, when it started, I think people were a little tight. Most clients were a little tight with their budgets. You know, whenever there's trouble in a firm or a company or whatever, the first thing they start cutting is advertising budgets. So I think people were a little slow on even experimenting with new ideas as to how to still reach your clientele in a COVID time. So I think it took a while, and after a while, it was quite obvious this was a new the new thing. I mean, like this was a new reality. We had COVID, and we're going to have it for a bit. So you had to either adapt or die. So then people started to embrace new ways of doing things, new ways of reaching their clients. So it was that's when it took off. It took off with social media advertising and the rest. Because before COVID struck, I think advertising on social media wasn't that big with most big brand companies. They still were cool with the traditional media of letting people know things, because it's I mean, like with the markets that we have, there are a lot of people that are probably now getting to understand social media advertising and stuff. So they are either hearing it on the radio or watching it on the TV. And if they're not reaching them through those mediums, then you are probably being lost in the whole crowd. So it was a little tough initially, but after a while, I mean, like people caught on and it started progressing.
Okay, and internally, you as an agency, as a team,
Yeah,
how did you guys manage the expectation, the fear, the not knowing, uncertainty about
the certainty.
the
Yeah.
future? How did you as a team manage or went through these first a couple of years of COVID?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so as a team, I mean, like before it happened, we had an idea it was going to happen. As in, like, there was this idea, there was this idea in the air that we're going to have to work remotely, and we're going to probably have to contact clients through Zoom and the rest. So I think even though it hit us as in from a financial point of view, I think structures and how we worked still were operational. Like, we still found a way to get work to the next person, because some of us had to take files home and the rest. So you work and send, and you are able to evaluate the work and get response from the client. And if it's something that has to go on social, then it started going. So in a way, with us, we kind of found a way to adapt, and we found a system that worked for us. Probably because we had foreknowledge of the fact that we'd probably have to work remotely. So it was, I mean, like, it was still tough, because it wasn't like some clients had withdrawn and they weren't working. They had closed their closed shop, and they were probably home. Like, people were home for the lockdown and the rest, so they weren't making money. So even you are innovative, you if you show them your innovation, you are still not going to get paid for that innovation. So it was tough on most of the clients, and it was also tough on our industry. But I think for my setup, it was fairly tough, but we found a way to weather the storm.
Yeah, and one thing I also want from this conversation and having the chance to discuss this with you is also to leave something for people who are watching and are not in the industry, not working on
Yeah,
advertisement.
yeah,
Because the one thing I took personally is that the creatives and the innovatives are the ones who survive and the ones who
exactly,
thrive during
exactly.
crisis. So you have to be resilient, innovative, and creative,
Exactly.
and not being afraid of changes. So open to changes, so flexible in that approach. I think those skills have been exposed as some of the most important in business and
Yeah.
life today. And some people, because of the uncertainty, because of the fear of the virus itself and the consequences and the economy, the shutdowns, how can people find inspiration? How can people be creatives? How can people spark that in themselves? So
Okay.
maybe I
Okay.
thought you as a creative person, I don't know if you have any tricks on the bag, if you have any exercises, if you have any formula to improve or
To
increase creativity. So how can a random people who just lost its job, factory closed or company is closed, and people are at home, how can they use their brain, their mind, and creativity to innovate and find a new path, a new
Okay.
direction?
Cool. Yeah. So that's the thing. I really like how you place the question, because there's this notion whenever you talk about a creative person, there's this notion that it's more towards the people that do the arts, be it visual arts, be it fine arts, or they do was it performing arts, like people that do movies, spoken word, and the rest. But in in a larger context, a creative person is someone that is a problem solver. So someone that uses ideas to solve problems. So it transcends almost every industry. It transcends just being in the creative industry, as in creative into context, we in the creative industry, but it transcends all that and goes into innovation, where people are using biodegradable materials for health equipment, and finding innovative ways to make sure probably they cut down on cost, or they come up with something that's unique. So a creative person is more or less someone that's a problem solver. And with those things, like, to be more creative, I think you have to look inward and find what helps your creative expression. So what really brings out creativity in you? It's something you have to learn. I mean, like, there are set rules and stuff, but at a point you'd have to know what makes you creative, extra creative. So let me just give an example. So sometimes I get stuck on a job or an idea, and it's probably there's nothing coming. I'm stuck. There's nothing. I can't force it out. So people have exercises that they do. Me, normally, what I have to do is forget about that work and move out. I'll take a walk. I'll watch a movie. Um, I'll find something exciting to do. The weird thing about being creative, it's it's a process. People are scared of the process. It's a process. There are sometimes you get stuck. It's only natural for you to get stuck. Or there are sometimes you are in a box. It's only natural for you to be in a box. But getting out sometimes needs you to um, find a routine that's good for you. A routine that helps you come out. Another one I would say is if you have an issue, which is a creative issue, there's something referred to as the box system. So the box system is a system where you create you have creative limitations to what you're doing. So Lego, for instance, has started creating bricks out of plant-based plastic. Now the limitation is to have things that are biodegradable. That's your limitation, because if you go and you say just create bricks, then they will start creating bricks from anything. But when you have a limitation, it sometimes opens up a whole box of other ideas. Another example of the box theory is Twitter. Twitter has what's it called, a set number of characters for you to express yourself. It's a constraint, as a, how do you call it, a creative constraint. So with Twitter, Twitter helped bring up what's it, the hashtag. The hashtag was basically born out of Twitter. So with creative limitations, sometimes you also get, so find the answer for what problem that you want to tackle, and with the answer you could formulate other ways to get to the problem. So it's all about how you think through it. You could also talk about creative support groups. So I have a couple of friends that I bounced off of. If I feel like this idea is good, I'm like, bro, what do you think about this? And they come back to you. And it's another way to also beat what's it called? It helps you beat being stuck when you have what's it called, a creative block. So I constantly tell people you need to find what pushes you, what drives you. Sometimes you need to stop. Sometimes as a creative, I know other creatives that don't stop. They have to push till they are bent out. That's when they get the idea. I'm also big on keeping resources or journaling, keeping stuff. So we live in a very unique time nowadays. I mean, like, with Pinterest and every YouTube and everything, it's like you have a digital scrapbook or a digital resource. It's endless. So when you get stuck, I mean, like, you could go through. Always make sure you write down great ideas. I always make sure I write down great ideas. So I mean, like, you have a phone. Why your phone is not just for calls and texting? My notes. I think I have more notes than anything on my phone. Anytime you have an idea, write it down. It might sound silly. It might not make sense, but there's a position. There's a time that you get to it where you probably go back and look through these things and notice, oh, this probably works for this, and that's how you work it out. Also, try to stay in the industry and learn from other people that have probably done what you've done already. So I mean, like, make yourself available to learn, make yourself available to make mistakes. One thing as creatives is we are always scared to make mistakes. Like, you feel like I buy a fresh notepad for illustrations, and after I do the first stroke, I'm like, nah, that's not nice, so I'm not going to do it now. I put it down. But that's the thing. You have to make mistakes. Mistakes, from a talk I listened to, mistakes are most often the embryonic form of great ideas coming up. So you'll be shocked. You'd probably make a mistake and look back and see, no, I could tweak this and it works. And that's something that helps you in your when you have creative block or how to innovate. Look at ideas and think about how to make them simple for people, and that helps with innovation enough. I mean, like that's my way. That's how I tackle being blocked or having I mean, like having no drive at a particular time.
No, man, a lot of wisdom there. So thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
I know you.
You are a
Even if
very
I was,
wise man, huh?
if I
You are a
wasn't saying
wise
it,
man.
if I wasn't saying anything sensible, you still say I was a wise one.
You are a wise man. No, but look, still focused because I think fear is very powerful. So
Very,
this
very.
thing of people being afraid of failure.
Yeah, exactly. Making
Uh,
mistakes.
One thing I also trying to unpack the fear element because I see fear as a big barrier to
Yeah,
creativity
exactly.
and
It
to
is.
production and productivity. So one of the things I've in my opinion and in my understanding is so powerful about fear is that you put so much time, so much energy into one thing, into one project, and this is what you do, Michael, as a professional. You have a campaign, you have a request. Oh, there's your face. Now we see your
Yeah,
face.
I'm trying to get some light in here.
Give
It
us
grew
some
dark
light,
all of a
please.
sudden.
Give us some light, please. Yes, so
Yeah, so
that's the
I have some
beautiful
light here.
Michael. That's Mr. Ghana for all Africa.
Yeah,
Mr. Ghana is with us. Yeah,
yeah, I'm here.
very
I'm
sexy man
representing.
representing. Yeah, so, but my point is, you have a campaign and you are absolutely, you work hard, you study, you do research, you check with people, and you really invest time, energy into
Into
one
it.
piece.
Yeah.
And then when it goes out, it's a failure and people don't appreciate it. How do you not take it personally? How do you don't let that mistake or failure affect your self-esteem, your ego as a person and as a professional?
I don't think there's a one take on how to do that, because I mean, like, you take it personal. You know, most creative people are very egoistic and emotional people. So yeah, you would take it, but you take it personal. But the thing I say most often than not is you're not like, how should I say, you're not a basket of wisdom. The fact that you find something very nice or innovative or you think it's beautiful doesn't mean it works. So probably you are just looking at the beautiful side of the whole campaign, but impact wise, the client is not going to get any return on investment. It's not really selling the message. So with that, I mean, like, it's a path you have to weather. It's like life. So I mean, like, life comes with throws many things at you, and you don't get the best every time. Sometimes you have to deal with the sad and the wrong. So as a I mean, like, you have to have it at the back of your mind that it's not everything that's going to work. Even Messi misses penalties, and Ronaldo misses balls that are supposed to be goals. And they are some of, like, the most perfect athletes or creative people out there. So I mean, like, as a creative, you should know that it won't be not all of your works would be, should I say, the golden goose. So you should have that at the back of your mind. Just like a boxer enters the ring, and definitely there's one punch that's going to shake you, but you go with the flow. I think you're still on mute.
Yeah, man, I'm fascinating listening to you. I'm forgetting to unmute.
Unmute yourself.
So I'm sorry. Yeah. But no, I was telling people that if they are watching us, to go and check your Instagram, the bearded
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
creative.
The creative, yeah.
To so, what can we find in this Instagram page?
Um, so the BFF creative is my free space. That's my go-to space. So I have political illustrations. I have they're mostly illustrations. So like when I get a topic that I feel like I could put a picture to it, which is usually political stuff, I have mostly my illustrations up there. So that's me when I'm going crazy. So they should enter with caution.
So check it out, people. Uh, right below the bearded creative on
Yeah,
Instagram.
in
One
Instagram.
powerful thing you just said was that creative people are emotional. Why is
Yeah.
that?
Ah, I I just guess that's how we're made. we're I mean, like most, especially those that are like at the pinnacle of their creativity. Most people feel like, so you feel like you're in God mode. You feel like what you've done is perfect. So there's someone you think who is not on that God level as you, trying to tell you that what you've done is wrong. It's a little hard to take sometimes. But I mean, like it's all a learning curve, as I always say. The fact that people do not appreciate what you've done doesn't mean you're not good enough, or you're not, like, what you did was actually wrong. It's probably one of the best works presented to an audience it shouldn't have been presented to. So I don't know the makeup of creative. I think God put a little more sand in making creative people. That's why they're overly emotional, but it is what it is.
So do you see a creativity more as a gift or as a skill?
Uh, I think it's both ways. There are some people that are naturally creative, and there are some people that learn to be creative. So it's, as I said, it's problem solving. It's trying to find ways. So when we're kids, we had flip flops, and whenever you went to play with your flip flops, you either tore it or something, and you had to find a way to bring it to the house. Now there were people that probably just dragged the flip flops on the ground till they go home, and there's the other guy that took his time, pulled out the rubber, and probably made a hole in it and put a nail in it and could walk perfectly to the house. So, and I mean, like with all these levels, I mean, like there are some people. So there's someone who also saw him do it and learned, next time this happens, this is what I do. So there are some people that are naturally gifted, and they are naturally creative people, like they are problem solvers, and there are people that learn on the job. There are people that learn from observation, from reading, and other stuff. Like, you are what you consume. I always tell people you are what you consume. So if you want to be a better illustrator, consume more people doing illustrations, or go to museums, learn stuff. If you want to be a better speaker, watch speeches. If you want to be a better actor, watch people acting and stuff. So you are what you consume. And that's what I think about it. That's you. If you want to be better at something, you learn more about it, and there are some people that are naturally better at it.
Cool. So, sorry, are you listening to me?
Yeah, yeah,
Can
I
you
can
hear
hear you
me?
now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, perfectly.
Uh, my headphones just died, so let me put them back on. Just give me a minute.
Sure, no problem.
I'm gonna try to put them back.
Yeah, I thought they died. Rest in peace. They died as in slept.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Just a minute.
Yes, I can hear you, bro. I can hear you very well.
Yes, yes, good. So Joseph is quoting you. So this is your wisdom being spread all around the internet. Thank you, Joseph, for being with us.
Oh,
Thank you,
Joseph.
Lam.
Yeah, Joseph is my mate back in, what do they call it now? Senior high school.
Ah,
So
cool.
he's one of my oldest friends.
Thank you, Joseph. And subscribe, please, to Freestyle Talks. And Lam is also saying, what a wonderful conversation. Congratulations. And Emmanuel, way back ago, he told us, good job, guys. So thank you
Okay.
for being with us. So just maybe on as we start to wrap up, because I could stay here and really unpacking this thing about the creativity, but I also want to go back to the people who are watching and who are struggling at some point. And how can what's a good exercise to start? What are good initial things to start doing? What are good mental block
Exercise. Okay.
breakers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
what
Okay.
is, if I was doing something for 20 years, I was working as a, at the cinema, uh, selling tickets for 10 or 15 years, and then it's closed because of COVID.
Yeah.
And that's all I can do. That's all I ever done, actually.
Done. Yeah.
So that's all I know. So that's all I ever did. So that's all I ever tried. How can I do something new? And,
Hmm.
how can I innovate myself and reinvent myself? What's a good way to get started?
Okay. So I would say reinventing yourself. Let me just take the situation that you spoke of. The person has worked in the cinema for a couple of years, like for a long time, and now is out of the job because of COVID. It's some of these things are already. I mean, like some of these answers are already there. So to innovate means to enter into another space that you probably were not in. So someone that has worked in the cinema could be a film critic for probably movies that are out on probably Instagram, or you want to make money out of it. So I think you should probably do a YouTube channel and start critiquing movies. So most, as I keep saying, the box system, how to make sure what you have is improved upon. It's a great way to like move from the clutter that was something that you'd been doing for a long while, and now you have to move on because of COVID. So I always tell people, find different ways. You could find different ways of doing the same thing that you do, or do something, or the thing that you've been constantly doing. You could find different ways of doing them, and it will look innovative because it's different from everybody. When we were growing up, they were selling food mostly in leaves, and all of a sudden, the plastics came around. The era of the plastics, they took over, and selling things in plastic looked very nice. Right now, people are going back to selling things in leaves, and there are people that are alive that probably never saw when they were selling things in leaves, so they think this is something new. So find the right time to bring back something. You could bring back something from the past, but when it's brought at the right time, it looks innovative. So it's, I mean, like there's nothing new under the sun. I constantly say this thing. There's nothing new under the sun. It's just reinventing stuff. Find a way to. And another thing is, you have to read the room. People always say this on social media, read the room. You have to read the room. Look at the innovations that are going on, and find out what's with your talent, what's the best thing you could put in there that works with the ecosystem that is already being like that that exists. So find, and you need to also read. I think people need to study a lot. It's something that's we as people probably don't do. You need to watch what's happening. You need to read. You need to consume stuff. It makes it easier for you to adapt because you can't just adapt with no knowledge. You need to know what's happening. You need to know your clients. You need to know how do your clients feel about this product? How do they feel about in a time of a pandemic and you are selling food? Do your clients appreciate it when you have to bring the food to them? Or would they want to come and get their own food because they don't trust who is bringing it? I mean, like, you need to get some of these nuances. Those are the things that will help you innovate and do something different. So that I mean, like, constantly be learning, find easier ways to do things. So that I mean, like, with
Okay, so we lost Michael. I think he had an internet problem. I hope he's joining us soon. Meanwhile, once again, if you have any questions, any comments, feel free to interact with us. Tell us where you are speaking from. If you would like to see any topic, any team, any guest being a part of our platform, so let us know, and we'll make the best to bring them to the platform. Uh, One other thing, just also to so I think Michael is back with us, Mr. Vipa.
you
Let
know,
me.
yeah, I think
There
I think
you
I
go.
went off. I got scared. I didn't know what was happening. I thought Jesus was coming, so everything had to go
No,
off.
you are safe. You are safe. Don't worry. It's not COVID. It's not COVID here.
Yeah,
Keep
bro.
going.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I mean, like, constantly gather knowledge that helps you innovate. I mean, like, knowledge from both what your peers are doing or what's happening in the space, and understanding your clientele and finding out what makes it easier for you to get to them. What do they appreciate? Putting those things in your business or putting those things in the solution that you provide is what's going to help you in this critical time where you have to be constantly on the go and you have to be constantly innovating or you get left behind.
What What are you learning now? Which skills are you focused on improving or on acquiring? Where is your attention focused on what to improve or what to really learn as a new skill or as a new something in your work
Okay.
or your life?
Okay, so a new skill is probably this, having talks, having chats, because I'm I told you the last time, you're the first person I'm going live with. I usually I'm that dude that sits in the back of the classroom and I don't want to answer no questions. I probably understand, but I don't want to answer no questions. I just want to sit in my corner. Let's close so that I'll go home and go and eat. So I mean, like, this is one of the things I'm planning on doing. Probably have a little more conversations out there because I guess people need heroes. So let me just strap my cape on and let's do something. And I am an illustrator, as in, like, I do book work and stuff. So I don't really do animation. That's something I've been learning a little off. So I'm trying to perfect my animation skill. That's because storytelling is a big part of what I admire. So I'm trying to see whether I could get my animation up there so that I could put in a couple of African stories out there. So I mean, like, life is a constant learning field. So I'm, I'm sure something will come up. I'll start acting. You find me in the new Black Panther or something.
I'll be waiting. Let's check on that. So one one question I'm very curious to ask you is: are you afraid to fail still, as a very experienced guy who's been in the creative industry for a long time and a creative since a very young age? Are you still afraid to make mistakes?
Yes, I mean, you always never stop being afraid to make mistakes. It's something you have to live with through your creative, what's it called, journey or life. But the fact is, you still make mistakes even if you don't want to make mistakes. Even the most perfect football players sometimes skew the ball. So it's something you have to understand. It's part of the whole process. It's step three when you are taking five steps. So it's if you don't go through that step, you are definitely not going to get to step five. But the great thing is, I know if I fail, I can learn from my failures. I mean, like I don't let things I've failed on hold me back. That's what helps you continue. That's what helps you stay in the space and not feel like, nah, I don't think this creative thing is for me anymore. I just let me find a farm and start doing some other stuff because I don't think I can constantly be bringing solutions to the table. So that's it. I mean, like I keep telling myself, yeah, sometimes you fail, sometimes you don't. Sometimes the first logo I do for a client is probably the best logo they've seen. So I mean, like that's a plus. You have a big smile on your face. You walk around like a smiley when that happens. But like when you send it and they feel like, no, this is trash, then you start feeling like, nah, you don't think you're making it to them, or you don't think you're good enough. But like understandably, you should know no human is perfect, no process is perfect. So definitely at a point you could fail. So all you have to do is understand that that happens, and you find your way through it when it happens.
Who are some of your heroes in books, in sports, in cinema? Where do you get inspiration from?
I get inspiration from a lot of things. I get inspiration from music, movies. I get inspiration from just walking, having a walk and looking at nature. So probably I get inspiration from God, since nature is God. So I mean, like, just sometimes I walk and see probably a mark on the back of a tree, and it speaks to me in an image. So that brings me back to the point of journaling. So I mean, like, you're always moving around with your phone. I'm constantly moving around with my phone, and I have this wonderful app called Procreate, which is a drawing app. So every time, I mean, like, when I get ideas, I just use my finger to jot it down quickly before I forget. That's the thing. Ideas jump into your head. There's sometimes you are not ready for it. It jumps into your head. If you do not journal it, if you do not keep it, you end up losing it. The only thing you remember is, I had that idea, but you don't know what idea. You've forgotten the idea too. Probably someone does your idea, and then you remember, oh, I had this idea. So I get ideas from a lot of things, from music, movies. I think one of the greatest shows that has always ever been on TV was Game of Thrones, because the word play, I love the word play in that series. I'm not even talking stories and like how the angles of what's it called, how images were shot, the camera angles and all that. I'm just talking about wordplay and how it was written, and it was so beautiful. I mean, like, I actually had a notepad where I used to write some of the what's it called, some of the wonderful quotes that were in it. I choose violence. Like, I mean, like, who even says that naturally? You don't say those things naturally. So I get inspiration from all those things. I get inspirations from people I chat with. I get inspirations from children. Children are raw with creativity. I mean, like, if you find yourself around children, they are raw with creativity. They don't stress themselves with being an adult and having to overthink everything. If you tell a kid to draw a human being, they just go for it and they draw it. They don't stress it out to see whether the eyes are equal or the nose is not equal. So like, I learn from them, as in, like, there was a stage in our life where fear was not part of us. We just went for it. So I mean, like, it's good to get back to the basics at a point. A lot of I do. Denzel Washington is one of my inspirations. I really don't. I I think. he's one of the best actors. So I just like him for that. Uh, my music is all over. I have inspirations for everybody. I have inspiration from Bob Marley, Sade, Eminem, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was very innovative. It was one of the most creative artists that came through. So it's a plethora of things. I pick from every place, and that's the great thing about being a creative, being able to pick from every place and bringing it back to your space.
So it's being open, being a
Hmm.
learner, constantly learning.
Constantly
Don't
learning.
overthinking. Don't
Don't
overthink.
overthink. Don't overthink
Just do
things.
it. Just
Yeah,
do it. Go
and
and play it and have fun. I think also having fun is important.
having fun is very important.
Yeah, it's also a process of check testing your own limits and
Exactly.
reaching for more and more and more, and just play.
That's it.
Play with your
That's it.
mind and your
Just
brain and your ideas. Have fun.
exactly play. Have fun. Have fun with it. So
And I
there's this sorry, don't
no no
you
go.
go. No, I'm just saying sometimes you already have the solution. You just have to reformulate it. So Pfizer, the drug company, had a breakthrough when they reformulated blood pressure, I think a blood pressure drug, and they birthed Viagra, and they've been making billions from Viagra till now. So Viagra was already in the system as, I mean, like they had a formula that was for blood pressure, and they just had to sit down and tweak certain things, and now they have a winner. I mean, like, people might have their own thoughts on what Viagra is, but as in, like, whether they like it or not. But I mean, like, it's selling, it's making money for them. So I mean, like, just constantly have your ideas, don't throw anything away, and reformulate them when the time comes.
Mr. Michael,
Yep, buff.
pleasure and an honor
Always a
having
pleasure.
you.
It's always a pleasure
Uh,
having you, bro.
and I really like you, man, and you are a great guy.
I know, I know. We're
And
we're we're, we're brothers. We're brothers from different mothers.
for sure, man. And
Yeah,
we've only been together for 5 days or so, but
yeah,
we have
yeah.
a
But we
bond
still, yeah.
that's lasting
Those
for a
were
decade.
those were five five
So
five exciting days and learning days.
5 days will turn into 10 years. So
Exactly,
uh,
bro.
really special having you here and having you as a part of my platform and my journey here at Freestyle Talks. And
Yes.
having Ghana represented as well
Yeah,
means a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
to
Ghana.
me, and really
Yes.
proud to be making a connection between Ghana and Mozambique with you
Yeah.
as our
Yes, bro.
first
Yes, bro. Yes, bro.
Ghanaian guest.
Yeah.
So stay safe, be creative, be who you are, keep inspiring us. Once again, I invite people to check the Instagram page here on the screen. But really, Michael, just a final thank you.
Thank you too,
You
Carlos.
are
Thank you for having
you
me.
always have a great vibe, and it's a pleasure talking to you and listening to you. So do it more often, please.
Okay, cool. And thanks for having me. I'm really appreciative of the fact you thought I should grace your platform. So thank you, my brother.
You're the best, man.
Okay.
Stay
Stay
safe.
safe. One.
Thank you. So yeah, that was our conversation with Michael Duodu-Opare from Ghana. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'm feeling inspired. I want to watch a movie. I want to to catch up on some series, and I think that this is a path each one of us has to take individually on how to become better. I have a quote in my wall, so here it is. Where is it? Level up. Level up is here. So keep leveling yourself up, keep improving, keep becoming a better version of what you were yesterday, and learn, be open, be flexible, don't be afraid, and don't overthink. And I think those are some of the key messages we can take from Michael and our conversation. Once again, go and check Michael's Instagram page, subscribe to our channel, please, and make sure to tune in next week. We have more exciting conversations from different parts of the world. So, this is what we do. We try to act as a bridge of inspiration between Africa and the world. So, my name is Carlos from Mozambique, once again, and I hope to see you soon. So, thank you and stay safe.